Hi there, my name is Miracle. I am the head of SEO at Erudite, and today I'm going to talk you through how I prepare for a presentation. First thing is choosing a topic. Now, some people have this misconception that they have to talk about an original idea. You don't have to. You can talk about something you've seen before and you have a new take on it, or you have listened to a talk on how to do something and you found it really difficult to implement, and now you have simplified that process, and so you have something new to add to it. So those are things that you can talk about. You can talk about something that's theoretical, imagining scenarios. You can talk about case studies, strategies and tactics that you have implemented that worked or didn't work. It's important to talk about failures as well, because we learn from those as well. So now that you have decided that, now that you understand that you don't have to talk about like a new concept or idea, then how do you drill down to that topic? What strategies, what tactics are you using every day to implement your work? That's a topic in there. What have you struggled with, since you started working and now you have managed to overcome? That's a tutorial there. And you might not be interested in talking about how-tos and implementing tactics and strategies. However, you might want to talk about like managing relationships, things that have to do with managing the people, the culture of the work. Those are interesting topics that loads of people will want to. Now that we have drilled down into what topic you want to talk about, the next thing to think about is who is your audience and what level of knowledge that do they have. I'm sure some of you have been for talks before where the speaker starts and they talk about a tool and they say, well, when you go into this tool and you pull this data and you have no understanding of what they're talking about, that's what happens when you don't know your audience, because you don't know the level of knowledge they have. And then there's a lot of assumed knowledge that goes into things. So first of all, know who your audience is, and then you will understand the type of data you want to present to them, the kind of language you want to use, and how much you want to drill down into that. The next thing to know is how long will this presentation be, because that determines how many slides you need to make, or if you don't need to make any slides. Another thing is what medium. Is this going to be a webinar? Is this live? Because is this a podcast? Do I need to prepare anything at all? Or am I just going to rock on there and I can speak from the heart? So those are things that you need to determine. Once you have all of those outlined, the next thing to do is prepare your slides. Now, it can be a bit overwhelming to sit down and prepare all, I don't know, it depends on the length of your talk, 140 slides or 30 slides in one go. However, the best strategy to take is prepare an outline. Now, prepare an outline of what the key takeaways are, what you want your audience to be able to do, what you want to show them. And when you prepare that outline, it would be easier for you to come back and then populate the slides day by day, depending on how long you have to prepare for your presentation. There are two key things about presenting a slide. Depending on the mode of presentation and if the audience is going to take the slide away, I think that there's a drawback to putting everything in your slides, because then your audience can get distracted reading the slides and forget to listen to you. However, there is also a drawback to not putting anything on it, because if you share your slides and people were not there when you made your presentation, then they might just end up looking at cute pictures of cats and dogs and not understanding what you were talking about. So if your presentation strategy, or if you're the kind of person who likes to put loads of things in slides so that you don't forget, that's okay. If you don't like to put a lot of information on your slides because you feel that that presentation style looks cluttered, that's fine as well. What you can do is write an article and stick it somewhere and then send everyone to that article, so that people who access the presentation afterwards don't just end up confused because all they see is pictures of dogs and cats. Now that you have finished your presentation, practice, practice, practice. You want to be sure that you can deliver your entire presentation 2 to 5 minutes before your allocated time runs off. You don't want to be on stage and you haven't delivered your key points and your time is over. Believe me, I've been there and that really sucks. But if you make that mistake, that's fine. Don't beat yourself up too much about it. Brush it off as a learning curve and try again later. Another key thing about practicing is that Yes, practice alone, practice in front of your colleagues because they can spot mistakes. However, also practice in front of someone who knows nothing about the topic that you are speaking about, and then ask them for feedback. Ask them what they have learned, because they will come up with things that you didn't even think about. And any kind of miscommunication or misinformation, or if the information is too complex for them to understand, then you know that you have to simplify, clarify, and make sure that you are telling a straightforward story. Now that you have put your presentation together and you've practiced, what else should you be thinking about? Body language. Your body language is really important because your audience feeds off it. If you're excited, they will be excited. If you show that you're happy to be there, they will be happy as well. I think one of the things I really miss about in-person conferences is feeding off the body language of the audience. If you're recording a webinar and because you don't have that audience interaction or feedback, what you can do is make sure that you record it as a video so that you and the host can interact, and that energy can feed into your voice, and then it will come up as a really energetic podcast. On the day, I can't stress this enough, be comfortable. If you're nervous, the last thing you want to be thinking about is shoes or clothes or something. This is not the day to try to break in that new pair of shoes. It is not the day. It is the day to be as comfortable as possible so that you can be relaxed. And if you're relaxed, that will come across. If you're nervous, it will come across. So you want to be as comfortable as possible. Make sure that you ask, am I going to be mic'd up? Do I need to wear clothing with pockets so that the mics can go in? How warm? What's the temperature going to be like on stage? That's something I never knew about at the start of when I started speaking in conferences. And because I'm always cold, I always dress super warm. And then when I get there, and then the light of 1,000 stage, and then the heat of 1,000 stage lights blazing on me, and then I just start worrying, oh my God, everyone's going to think I've pissed myself. So you need to be really careful when you're going for this, when you're going for a conference or you have an in-person event. Make sure you check, what's the temperature going to be like? Is it going to be really cold? Is it going to be really warm? Because you want to dress up accordingly so that you can be comfortable. And when you're comfortable, that energy will translate. Well, thank you for taking the time to listen to this. If you have any questions, you can use our contact us form, or you can contact us on Twitter, and we'll be happy to respond. Thank you.